All right. Well, welcome into this second episode of whatever this podcast is going to be named. I'm Andrew P. Andy P. With me, of course, is Jakey V. So last week we were going to come up with a name for Jake, kind of like a fun radio name. But now we might have to come up with a new name for this podcast that is only two episodes old now. So Jake, how you doing? How you feeling this
I'm feeling
fine
pretty
young
bad
morning?
that there's some guy with 100 subscribers out there who's kneecapping us and stealing our name.
Yeah.
That
I
that's the scale where we are. Is that a guy with 100 subscribers can step on us like dirt?
Yeah.
A literal ant in the
Yeah.
scope of the internet.
Yeah.
He's
Literally
our god.
I was so
Owns
mad.
us.
I was like I found that out that we had a podcast that was the same name as another one and I was like, "Oh, it's not going to matter. We're going to get, it's fine." And I look at like their episodes like, "Oh, they have the Bears team doctor on." So maybe they're a little bit more reputable than us.
Yeah. We've had ourselves on for one time. So I think we're gonna have to defer.
We've
I
had
think we're
ourselves
gonna
and
have
Craig.
to prostrate before our god and to relinquish our sick name.
I know. We'll have something cool. We'll come up with something. We already got a couple names in the toaster, in the oven. I don't know, like ready to go. Whatever.
In the bread box. I don't know.
The
This
bread
is a
box. Yeah.
UK friendly podcast.
It's, so we'll come up with something, but right now we're just gonna go on with episode 2, and talk about. This episode's gonna be more of a little bit of a preseason recap, but obviously preseason is not overall great. It's always a little bit, boring and not really that entertaining, but it is football and there is stuff to glean from, and it's cool to see certain developments happen. So we'll be talking about the Bears preseason win over the Titans, which occurred yesterday. We are recording a Sunday morning, afternoon. You know, that, that time. And we'll also be getting into some major NFL storylines that we want to cover just before this September. So, Jake, let's start with the preseason week 1. The Bears defeated the Tennessee Titans at home 24-17. And just to start things off, what are some of your early or just very surface level thoughts, I guess, about the game?
Well, simple. We're going to the fucking Super Bowl. It's over for the rest of the league. They're done. They're cooked. But I don't know. I guess a little more seriously, it was just great to see Fields not have to fucking do absolutely everything by himself. He was able to just dump a pass off, and it became a touchdown, which is something the Bears have really never been able to do. So just seeing that, even though it's preseason, is very encouraging. You like, I guess if you want to talk about some of the other players because they only played for like 6 fucking snaps.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked what I saw out of Roschon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He was barreling through dudes. He had, soft hands, had a couple nice catches. That was good. I liked Tyson Bagent a little bit. He looked pretty comfortable for being a 4th quarterback on the depth chart. I mean, he was undrafted out of Shepherd. Yeah, he was playing against, 3rd-team scrubs, but he looked pretty comfortable. I liked that. Really, the whole team, I mean, aside from the constant fucking turnovers that happened in the second quarter, that was just back and forth between both teams, just a turnover bowl, and Velus Jones Jr., who's officially dead to me, I was pretty impressed with their effort yesterday. So, what are your feelings on the game?
I'm trying to stay very realistic about it just because it is preseason and our starters only played a couple snaps. Their starters only played a couple snaps. Malik Willis and Levis were switching off, right? So it's
Every drive.
preseason, especially the first week of preseason where your starters are going to play the least, if not at all. Sometimes they don't play at all. I'm trying to stay very realistic about it, but I do like what I saw yesterday and just the fact that Fields' stat line is just objectively funny. It is 3 for
It's
3.
hilarious.
He went 3 for 3 for 2 touchdowns and 129 yards, which I believe is a 158.3
Perfect passer
QB
rating,
rating.
158.3, yeah.
So if he kept that pace up, he'd throw,
I think it was
10.
over 8,000 yards and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
125
yes,
touchdowns.
and like
So
something ridiculous.
a little
So,
goofy.
but I really like that. It is preseason, but you did see already our players making our skill players making plays, like DJ Moore and Khalil Herbert, that we have not seen them like in a while, and letting Fields just get rid of the ball quickly, and then turning that into big plays. Obviously, not every screen pass is going to go for a touchdown, a 60-yard touchdown, but I do like seeing that our players are actually turning his passes into big plays, and that he hopefully won't have to do as much by himself this year and can rely more on his skill players to make plays for him. I think that's a very good development, and even Mina, like I love Mina,
Oh,
and
Mina's tweets, yeah.
dude, I love her,
I
and
love them so much.
she went on Twitter and said she was like she said
I'm
something about like
emotional.
yeah, I'm
She's like, he has
emotional.
skill position players. I'm emotional.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Which
like,
is like
me too.
it's such a good, yeah, me too. It's such a good like development, and to see that in the preseason, especially to see them working on that. But then you have guys like Hub Arkush and like all these other downer Bears fans or haters or whatever saying like, oh, it's 3 for 3. Not every screen pass is going to go for a touchdown. Blah blah. It's like, man, it's preseason. They're just practicing. They're getting to the swing of things.
That guy
And
literally almost died last year, and he's still just as negative. It's like I think the best thing for that guy would have
yeah,
been dying on the steps of
yeah.
Palace Hall. Fuck
So,
off already,
oh
Hub.
my
Go
God.
away.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird to be negative about, Fields played a quarter and he went 3 for 3 for 129. Yeah, it's like, okay, not every screen pass is going to go for touchdowns, but it's still good to see that. It's still an objectively good thing. And I thought our defense was very gritty, to use a word
Yeah,
that I'm not a fan of. I really liked seeing Kyler Gordon just
yeah.
smash the fuck out of
He
everybody.
annihilated someone. He hits
Yeah.
really hard for a corner.
Mhm.
I like
Mhm.
seeing that.
Yeah, me
I mean,
too.
I think our whole defense will be much better. I didn't like their first drive when they just like let Malik Willis march down the fucking field and score,
Yeah,
but they did seem to stiffen up after that, which is
yeah,
good. They had 8 sacks, which is pretty impressive. Um,
yeah. A big improvement from last year, where they had like 8 sacks all season.
our defensive line had 10 sacks in the entire
Hmm.
fucking season,
Yeah.
so that's pretty disgusting.
Hmm.
Another, this is a little off topic, but
Hmm.
on Khalil
It's fine.
Herbert's long run on the screen, and like he was, down inside like the 10, and then he like had a second effort where he fought through like 3 guys to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Apparently, Matt Eberflus instituted a policy that if you have a long run but get stopped inside the 5, you get fined. So that's why he had that extra effort, because he did not want to get fined for getting stopped short of the goal line.
I love that, dude.
I love it too. I think that's
I
that's a great attitude changer on your team.
I think there's that talk of culture that like Poles and like Eberflus brought in, and I think culture talk can get like a little annoying. There's that we're both urinating tree fans, and
Yeah,
there's that short clip in
culture
like
is actually damn good.
yeah, from the Commanders guy that we'll actually be talking about the Commanders a little bit later. But I think the culture that Poles and Flus have brought in actually is one that like makes sense and like teaches like toughness, and it's like it, but it feel like they've also brought in a culture of just like modern NFL. Like it's like
Yeah.
weird to like talk about it, because I also don't really like talking about culture. I think it's kind of like it's a dumb football guy thing to be like, oh, the
Mhm.
culture, or like they're so gritty or whatever. But like, I do think like in a sport like football, you need to have a culture, you need to have a positive culture, you need to have toughness taught to your players,
Yeah,
and
it
you need to
matters.
do things that make sense. You need to do things that make sense, and a lot of the things that happened underneath like Nagy and Pace's watch, in the last regime, just didn't make any fucking sense at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's extremely clear that the second Ryan Poles got here, and Matt Eberflus, that their main goal was to establish an identity, a
Hmm.
philosophy of how you play the game, and that's what they've
Yep.
done. That's what hits is. That is their identity.
Yep.
That's how they play.
Yep. it's a identity. We had an identity crisis the entire time we were with Pace and Nagy. The first season under Nagy was definitely the identity of the team was Fangio, right? Like that's where all the
Yes.
success came from, our defense, all that good stuff. But then Fangio leaves and goes to the Broncos, and we do become Nagy's team, but Nagy is so wishy-washy and so unsure of himself that the team becomes like that. We just have to look at
Yeah.
the whys, like that kind of shit.
Nagy's identity was winning. It was club dub. And then when he stopped winning, there's no identity anymore.
Yep, yep.
That's what it
When the
was.
when the times got tough, Nagy just kind of
He could not persevere.
faltered. Yeah, he could not
He couldn't
persevere.
dig deep and pull that team up. They just fucking faltered and collapsed.
Yeah,
And on
like
the weight of their own pressure.
And even with the 3-14, we went did we go 2-15 or 3-14? Somewhere
Like
around
3 and
that.
14.
Yeah. Even during that season last year, I still felt like we were
It was the
in every
funnest season since 2018.
Yeah,
Like
we've had
we
in
won 3
years.
games.
Yeah,
It was the funnest season since 2018. We won 3 games.
yes.
Insane.
Yes. That team was tough. They were in games. Fields kept them in games. Like we were getting, it's so dumb. Maybe it's dumb to like talk about the social media, but like I felt like we were on more social media highlights through the NFL than we were during the last 3 years of Nagy's tenure, or 2 years, or was he there 4 years? It was like I think it was 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the last 3 years of his tenure, we were more, we were on NFL social media breakouts and like on NFL Twitter way more last year than we were the last 3 years of his tenure, because his tenure was just so maddening and so annoying and so awful to sit through. And now this Bears team that came about last year with Flus getting higher and everything, like it was just so much more fun.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't.
And they were bad.
Losses were bad. They definitely hurt. They twisted the knife a lot, but it was not the same level of excruciating that Nagy was. Not
Oh
even
yeah.
close.
No. Nagy was just such a hockey know-it-all, but also somebody that could not make a decision to save his life or even take blame for anything, right? Like
Yeah.
that last
His
season,
ego was crazy.
I don't even know if it was his last season that was as bad, but the season before where they made the playoffs, but it was just like they were like 5-8 at one point, right? Or maybe they were 5-7 or something like that.
Game, what happened? Well, that season, what was 2020?
Yep.
That was the one where they started off like 5-1 with all those crazy comeback victories. They like
Mhm.
put Nick Foles in after benching Mitch in like the
Yep.
first or second game. It
Yep,
was
against
crazy.
the Falcons.
Against the Falcons, and they
I
came
think that was
back.
the third game.
Yeah, maybe it was the third game.
I'll look it up while you're
But
talking.
we started off 5-1, and then we had a horrific losing streak, and then we, went and won some more games to close out the season, and the fucking Cardinals shit their pants, so we backdoored it in the playoffs
Yep.
at 8-8,
Yep.
and then got humiliated by the Saints in the Nickelodeon Bowl. MVP Mitch Trubisky.
Dude, I want to
God,
buy. There's MVP. I've seen MVP shirts recently somewhere. Somebody was wearing a Mitch Trubisky MVP shirt, and maybe it was on Barstool. I don't know, but like
I think
maybe
they have stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, I want to see that so bad. Like I want to get one so bad. I know somebody too that had I think one of our longtime family friends, like in his apartment, has a MVP Mitch Trubisky bobblehead, which they were selling for a while.
Amazing.
I think from like Foco or whatever that company is. They make like straw hats that you can get with like the logos on it. But I think
Madden had a special MVP card of
yes. It's so funny. It is so like
if you go on his like official like Pro Football Reference or whatever it's called, where you can look at all the stats.
Yep.
In his career accomplishments, it lists 2020 NFL MVP as one of his career accomplishments. Unironically.
Yeah, it's so good. It's such a funny stat. Such a funny like
it.
I remember you and I watched that game together because that was January 21. I think we had come back from Christmas break.
Senior year of college, yeah.
Yep, and I was a sophomore, and we had just come back from winter break because this was like I don't know January 7th or something. It was like it was the first weekend of the playoffs, right? So school hadn't started yet, and we were watching that, and like they had the voting, going, and you and I were talking like it would be so funny. I don't know if you and I voted, but it would be we were like,
yeah, I don't remember.
It was like it would be so funny if he won the MVP because they were losing like 20-0 at that point. It
Yeah,
was clear. It was clear we were not going to come back. And then he wins the MVP, and I think that was like the only moment of joy you and I had from that entire season.
yeah. I remember they were like trying to find him to slime him, but like he didn't want to because they just fucking lost a playoff game and
Yeah.
humiliated Cassius.
I think they ended up sliming
They,
Sean Payton.
they did in his fucking Jordans. They slimed
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
So funny.
That Sean Payton is so funny, dude. Sean Payton is a replace. Do you know he's a replacement bear?
Yeah, I knew he went to like Naperville Central.
Yeah, he
He's
went to
from the
my
area.
he went for to my mom's uh like rival high school because she went to one of the Naperville schools. It
Went to
wasn't
North
Central.
probably.
I think she went to North, and
Yeah.
so they were like rivals. And then he was replacement bear. So like
Crazy.
whenever Sean Payton coaches against the Bears, he'd been a coach for like especially like I'm sure that was a big storyline when they played in the NFC Championship game. But I
I'm sure he's
always
got like probably some small soft spot for him, just because of that. Being a kid
I
growing up watching the '85 Bears.
oh yeah, I'm
I'm
sure he's
sure
in
he's
a
got a
soft
soft
spot.
spot.
But I'm also sure that like when he plays
He
us, he
doesn't give
just
a
wants to
fuck, and
demolish us.
he wants to
Yeah,
destroy them.
yeah.
I love that
He
he's just up in Denver ripping bongs, not giving a fuck.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
So
And
good.
he's still saying like weird shit. Like he said something the other day where he's like, I don't want my players on the sidelines wearing Gilligan hats. And nobody really
I
knew what
didn't
he
hear
meant.
that one. That's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it was a really I think it was like he didn't want he was trying to say that like he didn't want his players to like relax or like, be
Yeah,
on the sidelines and
they're just
become
out
unfocused.
fishing, I guess. But
I think you just reach a certain point in your coaching career, unless you're like Bill Belichick, literally, unless you're Bill Belichick or Andy Reid, who are like, I don't know, I don't want to say Belichick's normal, but like they've always been able to just like stay like grounded, right, throughout
themselves,
their
they've never
career.
changed their personalities ever.
Yeah, and so Sean Payton, I think, is trying to. He was off for a year, and the last year in New Orleans was like so,
Weird.
right? Um, and he's a weird guy. I just this new like Denver Sean Payton is going to be very, very interesting. And we're really getting off topic now, but I just think like I don't think the Broncos are going to be especially good this year, and I'm really enjoying the Sean Payton. 'Cause Sean Payton is also a mega asshole and so full
Yeah,
of himself. Like he
uber
he
arrogant.
he fucks himself over all the time. Like the famous example of him doing the skull chant when they're playing the Vikings, only to have the immaculate reception or
A Minneapolis Miracle.
Minneapolis Miracle the Stephon Diggs touchdown, like
Yeah.
have that happen, right after. Like he just fucks himself over. He's so arrogant.
Oh yeah.
I'm really excited for the Galaxy brain combination of him and Russell Wilson.
To go
I'm
another year without beating the
Yeah,
Chiefs, they've
yep,
literally never beat Patrick
yep,
Mahomes ever.
yep,
You want to talk
and
about Aaron Rodgers owning us?
hmm
Holy fuck!
yeah,
Patrick Mahomes is the Denver Broncos' daddy.
oh yeah, it's so funny, but yeah, I don't know, man. Do you have any like finishing thoughts? I guess we're on preseason week 1. We've already gone like 20 minutes on it. I don't feel like we need to do much more, but
Just about preseason in general, or about the Bears specifically?
well,
Trying to get
what
back on track.
whatever you would like to talk about, go ahead.
I mean, I guess we could briefly talk about the Panthers and Jets,
Yeah, of
just
course.
because everyone was bitching at us about how amazing Bryce Young was, and Panthers fans constantly trying to add us about how he's better than Fields despite not ever playing a single down.
Yep,
How'd that go, Panthers fans?
yep,
Your singular first down was awesome. You got
yep,
hit on every single passing play in preseason. He's 5'9"
yeah,
and maybe 185 pounds.
yeah,
Good luck.
yeah. I was saying last week that we could have like a really high draft pick again, even if we're good, just
Yeah,
because we have the Panthers
dude.
pick. I think the Panthers are going to be dog shit this year.
If that I was way higher on them than you. If
hmm
that preseason game is any indication of what
Yeah,
they are screwed.
yeah,
They are absolutely screwed. They scored 0 points against the
yep,
Jets,
yep,
27-0.
yep.
That is
I
really bad.
I again I was saying earlier, like I think it's very dangerous to make big predictions based off of preseason. But if you cannot protect your quarterback when the D line's going maybe 50%, right?
Not even starters. Not
Yeah,
even
not even
starters.
starters. I think that's a big issue.
Very bad. The receiving core is nobody's. It's like the Bears receiving core. Their offensive line is a turnstile, and Bryce Young is small and not that fast.
They got
That's
Adam
not good.
Thielen.
Yeah, but Adam Thielen's like 35 years old.
I know. That was like
He's
so.
not, he's a possession receiver. That is
There's
it.
there's I hope he doesn't get his feelings hurt when I talk about this, but there's a kid I used to work with at school who like he for some reason he's a Panthers fan, which honestly I don't really get mad at anybody when they're Chicago everything and their football team is anything but the Packers. Like I get not wanting to be a Bears fan. If you're a
That's
Packers
because he liked
fan,
Cam Newton, and then he just
yeah,
stuck with it. That's
yeah.
exactly what happened.
But I'm fine with that because being a Bears fan is such torture. Although going to be a Panthers fan is not much better, which is really funny.
No,
But
they suck.
when the DJ Moore trade happened, I think they signed Adam Thielen within a couple days, and he posted because he was excited. He's like, "Okay, we're gonna get Bryce Young," and then they posted Adam Thielen. He's like, "Oh my God, we're gonna be dangerous." I'm like, "Dude, if you had signed Adam Thielen 5 years ago, maybe I would be excited." But Adam Thielen at this point is like I don't know. He's like
He's a possession receiver. He
he's
catches a
yeah
pass on third down when Justin Jefferson is triple
he,
covered.
he's
That's what
like
he did.
he's like Rams Wes Welker at this point.
Yeah, but he's a lot bigger than Wes Welker and a lot
Yeah.
slower.
Yeah, but I
He's
just
more
don't.
like Allen Robinson last year. That's what I would
Yeah.
compare him to, is a
Oh
guy
yeah.
who does not get open and does not catch passes anymore.
Yep. I
But
just yeah.
was at one point good and used his size to his advantage.
He just has a name at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't see him moving the needle for any offense, let alone the Carolina Panthers offense at all. And I like Frank Reich a lot, and I think he's a good coach. And I think he just got fucked
Yeah, but
over by.
that guy has no energy.
Oh no.
Frank Reich's he looks like he should be working in a graveyard talking to haunted skeletons. That
Hmm.
man, he has no energy at all.
Yeah.
I really don't have confidence in the Panthers. I don't know.
No. I think they're gonna be bad. And I saw one throw by C.J. Stroud, and I was like, thank God.
I didn't like him in college. I thought
No.
he had no competitive spirit.
Yeah.
That was my take on him, is that he had the Mitch Trubisky frightened kind of
Yep.
affect under pressure.
Yep.
Not good under pressure. And
Do you think he?
yeah. What were you
Do
gonna
you,
say?
yeah. Do you think he's gonna do the Mitch Trubisky thing of making the facility turn off the TVs?
Yes. I don't think he's good at criticism. I don't think he can take
No.
criticism.
No.
He
Not at
was
all.
making stupid comments during the draft about how he did poorly on one of his cognitive tests. He was like, I don't play tests. I play football. It's like, okay, you're an idiot. You're not very
Yeah.
intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't like that. Your quarterback needs to be smart.
That throw that the Patriots intercepted, I think it was like his first throw of the preseason, was objectively terrible.
It was horrible. It was to no one. It was like that. God, what's his stupid name? Will Levis. To ice the game for the Bears threw a pass to truly no one. I have no idea who that pass was to.
Yep.
I think this whole rookie class looks shit.
Dude,
honestly. They all looked bad.
We were talking about that before we started recording, where I don't think any of these quarterbacks are going to be very good. Actually, you had a pretty interesting quarterback as to who you think is going to be possibly at least the most competent one, at least right away.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he's going to be a rock star, but I think of all these guys, Stetson Bennett is probably going to end up being the best one. In part because his head coach is Sean McVay. That'll definitely help him a lot. But I think everyone just wanted to write Stetson Bennett off completely for playing at Georgia with elite skill position players around him. But and yes, that is true to some extent. You have to factor that into your evaluation of him as a quarterback, is that he was playing with the best college football team in college football history, possibly, like 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
You cannot not factor that in. You have to acknowledge that. However, he's a good athlete, and he delivered an accurate ball. And of the quarterbacks that played in preseason, he played the best. He didn't play lights out. He wasn't amazing, but he didn't shit his pants either.
Yeah. I think you also have to factor in his age, too, because he's 25.
An older guy. He's like 25 years old. He's older than me.
Yeah, he's older than me, too. So, and it's his rookie year. So you have to factor his age into it just because, by the time his rookie contract's over, he's 28, 29, which is,
Yeah,
if
it
he's
doesn't matter as
good,
much for quarterbacks. They can
yeah.
play into their 30s, 40s now.
Yeah, oh yeah. There's so many rules protecting the quarterback that yeah, like I mean, obviously Tom Brady played until he was 45, so and Rodgers is 39. So you could definitely play Breeze played until he was like 40 and Breeze was like
Yeah.
his arm was like falling off at the end, but he could keep playing because he could deliver the ball somewhat fast enough, right?
Yeah.
So I'm also not very impressed by any of these quarterbacks. That's why I thought the
No.
whole
I
argument
yeah.
of
I
of keeping the first pick and drafting Bryce Young was so stupid. Not only because I mean Bryce Young is just way smaller than Justin Fields and looks like he's about to be snapped like a pencil. I just like
yeah.
there's nothing there was nothing that leapt off the field from any of these quarterbacks that made me think, oh yeah, we should get rid of a guy who just had the greatest or
Historic rushing season.
the
Carried this team.
most fun Bears quarterback season in
He is our
10
only
years.
Bears quarterback to ever make the NFL top 100.
Yep.
Literally the only one ever.
But let's trade him for baby Bryce Young and shitty CJ
For
Stroud.
Mini Mahomes, as they
Mhm.
call him.
Mm-hmm.
Mini Mahomes. All right.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, the one other quarterback out of this draft class that I'm somewhat intrigued by is Anthony Richardson. Just
Yeah.
because of how big and athletic he is, I want to see
Yeah.
if he can actually translate that to the NFL.
I'm
He
rooting for
should
him.
have rushing upside from day one, like
Yeah.
Fields. Like with that size and speed, he should be able to, at least pick up 800 yards rushing
Mm-hmm.
if they use him in that way.
Yeah. I'm rooting for him because I like his physical traits a lot. I think I was listening to the Athletic Football Show this week, and they were doing a AFC South preview, and I think Robert Mays said that he's 255, which is
He's huge. He's massive.
he's the
six,
same
he's
size.
6'4" and a half,
Yeah.
255, and runs 4.4.
He makes his
It's
O
crazy.
lineman look small, right?
He's massive. Yeah, he's
So
quite a bit bigger than Fields as well.
yeah.
I know it's only
Okay.
only an inch, but I think it might be a little bit more than an inch. He's really big.
Well, he's definitely heavier than I think he's like 25 pounds heavier.
Yeah, because Fields is only like 225, 230 maybe.
Yeah,
And
he's 227.
255 is massive. That is a defensive
Yep.
end.
Yep.
That's Khalil Mack.
Yep. Yep.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Robert Quinn. That's actually who it is. It's Robert Quinn back there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
He also
Oh
has a mammoth arm, and they were talking about how crazy his throws were.
He's had some beautiful throws. I mean, he can launch it like 90 yards.
Yeah.
And he's so explosive, his pocket movement just looks crazy. Like, I've never seen anyone move around in the pocket like he does. It's very weird.
I'm definitely high on him because it feels like he has the highest
ceiling of all these guys.
Yeah. Where I think Bryce Young has the highest floor. But I still don't think that floor is especially high,
No.
So I'm excited for Anthony Richardson.
End up being like a Tua guy, honestly. One of those Tua-tier quarterbacks
that don't last very long.
Yeah, gets beat up because he's too small, but he's a quick processor.
Yeah. And I like Tua a lot. It just those guys don't last. It's one of those situations where those guys just don't really last very long because they just get beat up. Like Drew Brees is really like Drew Brees and Russell Wilson are like the only small quarterbacks that have really ever survived.
Yeah, and Drew Brees is 6 feet tall.
Yeah,
that's the funniest thing. Everyone talked about him like he's 5'4". He's 6 feet tall. He's not a midget.
No, he's just tiny for a quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
Mike Vick was 6 feet as well, I think.
Yeah, but Mike Vick was more, I think, more
insanely fast.
Insanely fast, and also just more of a physical specimen. Because Drew Brees, Mike
Vick had one of the biggest arms ever.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like when you look at Drew Brees, and you look at Mike Vick. Like Drew Brees just looks like a dad, and Mike Vick looks like an actual. Mike Vick is like chiseled.
Different quarterbacks they could be.
Oh yeah, yeah. Drew Brees can barely move in the pocket. And
his arm had basically fallen off for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
but he was still so smart he could just figure it out. He'd find a spot and throw it there.
He was in better physical shape than Peyton Manning was in Peyton Manning's last season, but yeah, he still had to rely on his mind like Peyton Manning did. A lot more. So, yeah, I'm happy that the preseason is here just because that means we are super close to actual football happening. The offseason is just so so long, and I get it, but it just when you're somebody like us who just wants to watch football all the time, you get football like straight for like 20 weeks, and then you don't get football for 30 weeks out of the. It's football is my favorite TV show. Like it legitimately, like it's just my favorite TV show. So whenever it's off,
Yes.
it's so I don't know, it's just such a long
Demoralizing
break.
to the human spirit.
Yeah, it's like I really the what's been keeping me going the last couple weeks, and has been that football is coming soon. So I'm
Yes.
excited. I think I'm gonna get into college football this year just because I
Yeah,
want
I've gotten
I
into it more.
I love football, and it's just like I usually never watch on Saturdays, right? But it's like,
Mhm.
man, there's a lot of good games happening on Saturday, and there's a lot of like fun to be had in college football, and I love football, so why not like just up my intake of it?
Yeah, the greatest thing about college football is the no stakes because you don't care. You're
Oh
just there
yeah,
to watch football. You love
I don't
it.
have a
The
team.
games are wild. There's way more crazy shit happens because it's kids that are playing it. It's not
Yep,
professionals. So there's all
yep.
kinds of weird, goofy blunders that happen. A lot of the rivalries are super fun. Michigan Ohio State is my favorite.
Oh,
I
dude,
don't have a college team, but the
nope,
Michigan Ohio State rivalry is my favorite thing in college football. I
dude.
just
It
love
is.
it.
I
So fun to watch. I loved
I
watching them hate each other and bicker and fight. It's the best.
That was the one game that I made sure to watch last year because I think it was like was it Thanksgiving weekend maybe? Was that big game when they were
Yeah.
both like ranked 3 and 4, I think, or something like that? Like they were
Yeah.
both in the top four, and it was like basically who was going to win the Big Ten because I
Yeah,
think
it was the big
whoever won that game, I think was going to face off against
they went to
Iowa.
the Big Ten championship game. I think it was Purdue actually.
Was it pretty okay? Yeah, I think you're
Because it
right.
was
Yeah.
Aiden McConnell and Purdue.
You know what? It could have been Iowa, but Iowa lost to Nebraska that day, I think, or like the
Oh,
day
they lost to
before.
Cornhuskers.
So I think it was Purdue. But that was like
Yeah,
the one football game, college football game that I made sure to like sit down in front of my TV and watch last year.
it was fun. I also it wasn't last year, but it was the year before that one. Notre Dame played what I cannot remember who it was at Soldier Field. I think it might have been Michigan or Ohio State.
Northwestern?
I think it was Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not Notre Dame and I think Ohio State. But maybe it could have been Northwestern. I don't know. I'm stupid. Either way, they played at Soldier Field, and that was just such a surreal, fun game to watch that I really enjoyed. I just like college football because football's football.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong, and it starts soon. So it starts before the NFL, and I'll watch college football over preseason. Why would
Oh
like?
yeah. Well, college
Yeah, fuck
football
that.
doesn't have preseason, so like when they start
No,
playing, they're just playing.
yeah, it's just football.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up what game this was. Um, Wisconsin? I think it's Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, maybe it's Wisconsin. That's who it was. I'm
Yeah.
remembering the red
I'm just I'm
of their
surprised that
jerseys. Yeah.
I'm surprised it was not like a Chicago or like an Illinois team that was playing.
Yeah, I remember it was. Now I remember it was. I think it was like Adrian Martinez playing for Wisconsin. And he was just
Mm,
horrible. It was Jack Cohn for Notre Dame and
yeah,
like Adrian Martinez, and it was just two horrible quarterbacks
yeah,
throwing it around
dude,
at Soldier Field. It felt like home.
dude, yeah. I Big Ten football can be rough. I know like it
Yeah,
was Notre Dame and Notre Dame's not in that conference, but Big Ten football can just be really rough. I went to a Minnesota Iowa game 2 years ago, and that
combined score of
game,
10 points.
yeah, it was rough. I think the backup for Iowa was starting because their starting quarterback, who his name both Padilla was starting. I don't remember his first name. Was starting over their normals. What was his name? Oh my god. Because he was so bad. Like my buddy goes to Iowa and he's in the Iowa marching band. And anytime they would play, he's like you like fuck our quarterback. Like he hated their quarterback.
They they're the Chicago Bears of college football. They
Oh,
cannot score
nope,
points. They cannot. They have
nope.
good defense and they cannot score points to
Yeah,
save their lives. It's insane. They've always been that way.
yeah, and they ended up losing in I think whatever they were in some Florida Bowl. Oh yeah, they were at Camping World Stadium in the Citrus Bowl, and they lost 17-20 because of their shitbag quarterback. Who is it? Spencer Petras?
Dude,
Sucks.
the under is free money on Iowa games. Just bet
Oh
the
yeah,
under every time and just collect your free
dude,
money.
that is like
It's
one of like
amazing.
that is like one of the only well-known
Sports
bets.
hacks, sports betting hacks you could
Yeah.
get is just free
Yes.
money for betting the
At
Iowa
the
under.
yeah, dude. I Iowa would be my college football team just because I was thinking strongly about going there, and my best friend goes there. So, and they do, yeah. You were saying like they're the Bears of college football, so I do have that like affinity for them. But god damn it, dude, Kirk's
They're
son,
excruciating.
Kirk Ferentz' son Brian calls the plays, and it's such a if you want to talk about
The
nepo
Steppo
baby,
babies, yeah.
yeah, it's such a nepo baby hire and such a nepo baby game plan. It's just a run up the gut or like a screen to like a tight end, and then just hoping that the defense can make the other team score 0 points. Like you do the bare minimum of an offense, and then just have this fantastic defense. And they always have a good offensive line too. That's really the difference between them and the Bears, right?
Yeah,
Other than
their
obviously that the
offensive
Bears are
line's just
professional, their offensive line is always really good. Like we've had a couple Iowa offensive linemen come through.
James Daniels, I think, was a
Yeah.
Hawkeye, right?
Yep.
No, he's a
Yep.
Steeler, so he looks like he's a Hawkeye again. They have the same fucking uniforms.
Same colors.
So, yeah, it's just so creepy.
So, yeah. But I think that's enough college football preseason talk. Let's get into kind of just major NFL storylines that happened in the offseason. We wanted to talk about it last week, but our offseason recap of the Bears kind of went long. So this is a good time to delve into that after talking about preseason and waiting for the season to start. So let's talk about Bears specific stuff. And the first thing I want to talk about with the Bears is just because this actually is. It might be close to your former home. You're in Tampa Bay now, but your former home of the Bears possibly moving or building a new stadium and their possible locations.
Yeah.
So that's it. That was a rough one this summer, I'll say.
Oh god, I don't even know what the fuck they're doing anymore. It's like they buy Arlington Park. They can't get the tax situation squared away, so they start
Hmm.
soliciting basically every suburb
Hmm.
in the surrounding area, up to including fucking Rockford, which is just ridiculous. That's
Oh my
not happening.
God,
Go
no,
fuck yourself. I'm not going to
so
Rockford.
dumb. No.
But yeah, they're talking about Naperville. They're talking about Aurora. I think they were talking about somewhere a little more up north, like closer to the Wisconsin border. I can't remember, like maybe Waukegan or something like that.
Yep, that
Just
sounds right.
a shit ton of places, and then the city as well. Apparently,
Yeah.
our new president and CEO Kevin Warren, who yesterday did take a photo with Lil Durk, which is such a fucking surreal goddamn moment. Holding a Justin Fields jersey with Lil Durk. Fucking yeah. Ted Phillips is doing that? I don't think so.
No, Ted Phillips looks like a racist dad. Nobody's doing that with him.
Yeah, exactly. But so apparently Kevin Warren was talking to the mayor of Chicago about potentially getting, another stadium built. So who the fuck knows what's happening? I
Yeah.
have no idea. I have no real investment. I just want the Bears to have a stadium of their own
Yep.
that they own and that is nice.
Yep. But hopefully not publicly funded though. That's like really
No,
because I
they're
just
going to need
saw.
some public funding, but that hopefully it's just infrastructure and not the
Yeah.
actual fucking stadium.
Well, and I don't mind that. I think.
Roads are fine.
Yeah.
Stores where local businesses will be, and those people will be able to make money
Yeah.
and generate income for their family.
Yeah.
That's fine. But actually building a monolith to a massive corporation
Not
and then
okay.
getting really nothing back from it is
Mhm.
not the best way to go about city planning.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I don't know shit, but
Mhm.
that's my uninformed opinion.
I just really, I would love to avoid the Titan situation where the Titans are now getting 1.2 billion public dollars for
Yeah,
their new
fuck that.
stadium, and nobody even
Or the
fucking
Bills.
cares.
Dude,
Yeah.
the Bills are building a stadium that's fucking smaller than their current one.
Yep. Yep.
What? Why?
I don't know. It's just to see how much they can squeeze out of the taxpayer.
Ugh.
The the whole ordeal with the stadium this summer has just I think Kevin Warren is going to be okay, and it's anything is better than Ted Phillips. And the thing with Kevin Warren too in this situation is like this isn't really his fault because he was hired after they had already bought the plot to Arlington Heights. And so the Bears did the dumb thing of going out and buying this land and then going to see how much money they could get from taxpayers instead of the other way around of keeping these cities, like just strangling them, holding them hostage and doing that. Instead, they did it like backwards. So now none of these
Yeah.
places are in any sort of, uh, you know,
Well, apparently, what happened,
need.
I don't know the entire story, but my understanding is that they bought the property and they had a tax assessment already on that property, and
Hmm.
then once the Bears bought the property, they jacked the tax assessment up a crazy amount to a
Hmm.
rate which would be proportional of that which the stadium actually already being built and then
Hmm.
making revenue. So they're
Yeah.
trying to tax the Bears at a rate of which is assuming they're already producing revenue from this plot of land, and they're not.
Hmm.
So it's just totally unsustainable. If they
Yeah.
were to ask, that tax rate when the stadium were already built, maybe it would be possible,
Yeah.
but it's just not workable at the moment.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen with there?
Yeah. I
Worst case
I
scenario, they just sell the land and someone else
yeah.
develops it.
Oh yeah. It's really there's no really it like I don't know. It's hard to feel bad for the Bears in a situation because like yeah, they could just sell it. Like
Yeah, I mean
it's
they're a
not
billion-dollar corporation; they'll be
yeah.
fine.
I'm not gonna you don't feel bad for them at all. But I'm okay with them moving to Arlington Heights because it is pretty easy to get over there.
Yeah,
It's a big plot of land. You can take the train, you can take a lot of different public transportation to get there, all that good stuff. I want them to stay in the city just because I want them to be the Chicago Bears, and I'm sick of this trend of teams moving out to the suburbs to build their stadiums. Like I think the Braves play in Macon County.
they
Um,
all do. This
the,
is
the
like
the
the
Niners
fucking
play.
49ers are 60 miles away from San Francisco.
I hate
And
that.
thank God for that, because San Francisco has been burned to the ground.
Oh yeah, but I
Oh
just
my God.
I want them in there. I want the Bears in the city.
I mean, yeah, I was definitely very salty when I heard they were leaving the city at first. But at this point, I'm more open to it. I just want the Bears to have a stadium that doesn't suck ass and that actually has seating capacity for its fans. So I don't have to pay
Yeah,
thousands of dollars for a crap seat.
yeah. Well, dude, that was the interesting part. So I went to the Taylor Swift Eras tour at Soldier Field, and you definitely it's so funny to like oh, man, like yes, they stripped away thousands of seats or whatever, right? In that renovation, that took them off from being a historic landmark. But like they did that to drive up the ticket price of their tickets, right? But
Yeah,
I feel like that hurts you because
it
like
does.
now, like Taylor Swift can easily sell out 70,000, 80 seats a night, but you only have 60,000, so you're losing revenue. Like I can't imagine that like the price of those. I paid $138 for my nosebleed seats, right? Um, like that's really not that bad of a gouging. Imagine if you just had 10,000 more seats with that much money, with them being
Yeah,
costed
I mean they could
uh,
easily find equilibrium
oh
and
yeah,
have more seats and still raise the ticket prices. Because guess what? I
yes.
imagine demand is not going down.
No, dude. The supply might go up, but the demand will also go up.
Yeah, like there's more Bears fans every day.
Yes. Like it's just dumb to take away seats to artificially raise ticket prices when like you can just sell those tickets. Like you can just have those as seats and just sell them at whatever price you want to sell with like without them. I don't like I people will pay anything to go to a Bears game.
Yeah, they do.
It's and go to
I mean,
to a concert, a Taylor Swift concert, whatever the case is.
have you seen the waiting list for season tickets? It's
Dude,
absurd.
I talk about my uncle all the time. He's a season ticket holder, right? This is probably gonna be like a running joke where I just bring up my uncle. But I was talking to my uncle. I went to the Bears preseason practice, or opening practice or whatever, to the season ticket holders, and I was talking to my uncle about how long he was on the waiting list. He got on the waiting list the day after the Super Bowl, or like the off season after the Super Bowl, whenever
Yeah,
1986. He didn't become a season ticket holder until 1995.
9 fucking years.
It took that long to become a season ticket holder.
Yeah. Oh my God. And that's when the stadium was bigger.
Was bigger and nicer.
They didn't cut the size of the seats down yet in
Nope.
'95. That was still
Nope.
old Soldier Field.
Yeah, that was when it was still a historic landmark.
Oh my God, what a disaster! They still had the piss drops back then, the good old days.
Yep. They still have those at Wrigley.
Do they? I've never
Yeah,
been.
dude, Wrigley is and I say this as a White Sox fan, so take whatever I say as a grain of with a grain of salt. Wrigley is a beautiful stadium, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful views, beautiful,
Original home of
you
the
know,
Bears.
sight lines. Yeah, original home of the Bears. A lot of history. Wrigleyville is really fun. I really enjoy Wrigleyville, and that might be controversial as a White Sox fan, but it is really fun. I like having. It reminds me a lot of college, where you just have like a strip of
Yeah.
bars, right? But here's the thing:
Uptown.
is the operations at Wrigley are objectively fucking awful. The
Yeah.
bathrooms smell terrible. I mean, that's every stadium, but they smell
Yeah.
terrible. They have piss troughs. The food tastes like shit. Every worker there hates their life. The only good thing is like the security is like really easy to get in, but it's also a little messy. But like just the operations and the operations of the Bear Stadium are terrible too. Like I think the
Oh my
company
God.
the company
Awful.
that runs concessions there has been compared to like prison. You know.
It
Um,
probably is. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same fucking supplier of the prison
yeah.
food.
Yeah, so I think it's been compared some way, but yeah, I mean, yeah, but we're getting off topic again. I think that's enough for the stadium stuff. There's really not much to say as two
Yeah,
hucksters.
we're idiots. We don't know shit about
Yeah.
anything. We
So
don't
I
know about
want
developing real estate. We're morons. Everything we've said has been completely useless
yeah,
about the stadium. But I
I
love it.
don't I don't own a property. I own a cat that's sleeping behind me currently,
Yeah.
and offers no value besides sitting on my chest and yelling at me.
Yeah, your
But
cat actually owns more property than you do.
yeah, they
This
own
little
me.
cat bed.
They own me. Um, But yeah, so let's get into a couple. I only have two major NFL storylines left for us to talk about this episode, just because I don't think that much crazy stuff, unless I'm missing something, really happened this offseason. But I do, first thing, just because we are a Bears podcast, I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers getting traded to the Jets.
Yes.
I want to talk about our freedom.
Our freedom. Do you have some words prepared on this?
Uh, the only thing that I have prepared is thank fucking God I don't have to fucking go up against him twice a year anymore.
Yeah.
We don't have to watch him
Uh,
destroy the Bears and own the Bears. My daddy,
Packers
my
fans are not
daddy,
taking it well, dude.
my daddy has left. He's never coming back. He's going out to get milk, and you know what? I hope that milk spoils because I never want to fucking drink it.
I swear to God, if Daddy comes back to the Vikings, I might have to kill myself. I might have to do it. I couldn't handle it.
Dude, that would be
I,
awesome. But okay, if it follows the Brett Favre trajectory, we could end his
end
career on
his
Monday Night
career.
Football.
Yeah.
Monday Night Football.
Javon Dexter would end his fucking career.
Yeah. Isn't that funny
Big
though
Dex.
that I feel like the Bears always play the Vikings on Monday Night Football. Like that's always like a
They do
weird
all constantly. Well, the Bears always
it's
play the Packers like
on Sunday night.
on Sunday Night Football, and then the Vikings are always Monday night or a Thursday
Yeah. It's
for
just
whatever reason.
the
And then the fucking Lions, they're forgotten at 12 o'clock
yeah.
on a
That's
Sunday.
a 12 p.m. game. But
Yeah.
what do you have to say about Rodgers going to the Jets?
Uh, I'm extremely grateful that he's not on the Packers, and Packers fans are coping
Yep.
very hard with Jordan Love throws. That's very enjoyable for me. Seeing Aaron Rodgers wearing the headset on the sideline trying to coach Zach Wilson is such a weird sight.
Dude,
And
it is so
another
funny.
thing is, I love his pettiness. I love that he looks totally rejuvenated. He doesn't
Yep.
look like he's 4,000 years old anymore. Like his
No.
eyes, the bags are gone.
He cut his
It's
hair.
crazy. He cut his hair. Like he looks normal. He looks happy. He looks genuinely happy for the first time in years. And I love how much that is just sticking in Packers fan side. They can't take it, and it is just a treat.
Yeah. I really
Oh,
enjoy it. Did you watch Hard Knocks this week?
no, I haven't. Is it actually out?
Yeah, so
Episode
the
one?
first episode came out on Tuesday. Yeah, I watched
Wow.
it.
I'm
I watched
so
it
plugged
before I
in
went
I
to
am.
bed.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was a good I've never been interested in Hard Knocks, but I'm so interested in this year's Hard Knocks just because of the whole Rodgers thing.
Did
Um,
Zach Wilson get any coverage?
oh yeah, he gets interviewed. Like he gets
Oh
interviewed, and
man.
like they show a big part of his Hall of Fame game performance. But
Wow.
it's so interesting because like Rodgers is actually coaching up, and again,
Yeah.
it's a doc.
Like
It's definitely portrayed this way. I don't know if it's for real. Like they definitely like use the footage in a way that makes Rodgers looked good, so I don't know if this is actually
Yeah.
realistic. But he was coaching Zach Wilson up. He was telling in practice, like, you should be doing this. You need to be doing this when you do like this drop back, whatever. And then during the game, he was like, "Hey, throw it to this guy," and that was like the biggest play of the game.
Yeah. That's really cool. I mean, that's good. Like, that's good to see at least. I've hated on Zach Wilson, but it's hard for that kid, I imagine, and
Hmm.
so it's good. Aaron Rodgers is his hero as well, so
Oh yeah.
that's
Well,
probably got to be a very surreal experience for
they he was getting like Aaron. There's that one throw that like I think was the throw that made him the second overall pick by the Jets and moved him up above
past
Fields.
Fields.
Was that pro day pro that he was getting compared to Rodgers?
Yeah, he's always been compared to Rodgers. They have the very similar builds.
Yeah,
They're both like 6'1" ish and kind of slight. They have that same throwing motion, and they have very similar mobility.
yeah.
Like they're very similar quarterbacks,
Was it
at
you?
least
I
from a
think
physical standpoint.
was it. I think it was you. But then this is like became like a thing that we would bring up all the time, where like you told me that Aaron Rodgers is very insecure about his height.
He is, yeah. He makes
Yeah,
sure he's listed at 6'2", but there's no fucking
he's
chance.
yeah.
There's
No,
zero
he's
chance he's 6'2".
maybe
He's actually
6'1".
he's maybe 6'1", probably 6'1.5", honestly.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
looks like if you see him next to Fields, who's listed at 6'3", Fields towers over him. It's
yeah.
crazy.
It's so funny. There's like a video. I think you can find it on Deadspin before Deadspin died. But there's like a video of him being asked, and he's like, "I don't want to talk about it." Like he just like
Yeah,
shuts down.
there was a huge like article about how he's like he gets bent out of shape when someone comments on his height.
It's so
He's like, I
funny.
would be so upset about people talking about my height if you were talking about it all the time. Like, but
Yep,
some passive aggressive comment like that.
dude. He's such a weird guy, and that was like 2011. So that was before we knew he was like this weird.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that
So
was way before all the, like he did
the
have long hair at
ayahuasca.
that point, right?
No,
Like,
he didn't have long hair until like the last couple years at Green Bay.
really?
I don't think. I don't remember.
Because I do remember hearing that he was like a 9/11 conspiracy theorist back in the day. Like he was walking around asking like his backup quarterbacks about 9/11.
Yeah, I do. I do. I think that story, like I think stuff like that. I've been seeing this summer about him being weird like that. I know Pete Carroll's a big 9/11 truther.
Yeah, yeah, he's a
So
big one.
he there's like lots of stories about him being like, well, how does jet fuel melt steel beams?
I just find
Like
that
in
so funny.
practice.
Is that you're talking about this in practice? It's like you're allowed to believe this shit, but why are you
Yeah,
talking about this in practice? Who cares?
it's like you're still working a job, and you have to have some sort of like. I know it's football and like
Professionalism.
yeah,
That's what it is. Being a
yeah.
professional.
Like you're talking about this in like your wide receiver meeting. Yeah, like I don't.
Yeah. No. If you want to talk
Which
about it with your teammates when you're
yeah,
not at the facility, fine. But
yeah.
you're working.
I don't know if he did it in his wide receiver meeting, but I think that would be the funniest meeting to talk about
It's so
9/11
funny.
truthing
I
because
love
the
it.
wide receivers would go along with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Aaron. Of course.
Have you seen that?
Devontae's response.
Yeah. Have you seen that tweet where it's like it's so true where it's like quarterbacks will be like, all praise to God, thank you God for everything you've done for me. Running backs will be like, man, they don't know what they're dealing with, and the wide receivers are like, I'll fucking kill you. And it's like very true.
Yeah.
Like it always rings true. So I don't know. Just talking
Oh
about
my
like
God.
9/11 or whatever. It's like if you're Pete Carroll, Aaron Rodgers, what are you fucking doing? Like do that in your own time. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just fun.
So
I love
I
weird stories like that.
yeah, I love that these guys are so galaxy brained.
Yeah.
So I think that that Rodgers. My prediction for the Jets this year is I
I
think
do
that they
love that
will
he's a New
be.
York Jet, though.
I
It's
love that he's a
amazing. For a
Jet
9/11 conspiracy theorist,
in New
being a
York.
New York Jet, I think his first game is on 9/11. It's literally the greatest thing that's ever happened. It's so amazing.
Dude, should we bet? I should bet the over for that. He's gonna ball out for
Do
that
it.
game.
He's going to fucking. He usually shits his pants in week 1, though. So you've got to
Yeah,
be. He doesn't
be
play in
careful.
preseason, and he comes out slow a lot. So be
But
careful on that bet.
he's got to put up a crooked number on that day to
Who are they playing
never
week 1?
never
The
forget.
Bills, I think. The Bills are good,
Yeah,
so that might be a tough game.
let's look. Jets schedule. I do think that he's going to be good for them. I don't think the Jets are going to be. I think the Jets could sneak into the playoffs. I do
That
think that
division's a
they.
nightmare.
Yeah, that division is
It's
crazy.
brutal.
They do play the Bills on September 11th, so
Wow.
nice.
A lot. Two New
Um,
York teams playing September 11th.
yeah, never
It's
forget.
wild.
Never forget.
Never
Um,
forget.
but I think they're going to be. I think the floor, at least for me, when I look at them, is 9-8. Not even the floor. I think that
Teams.
is the median for
Well,
me.
yeah, because the AFC's so goddamn
It's so
tough, man.
stacked.
It's
There's a lot of
brutal.
teams. I think most of the teams that made the playoffs last year will make it again. Like I just think they're so good,
Probably. Yeah. I mean, dude, the AFC North is a bloodbath.
dude. Yeah, all
It,
those teams are like those teams are gonna beat up on each other, especially if Burrow's out for a long time.
I mean, I truly being drafted to an AFC team as a young quarterback, you must just think like, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
There's no chance I ever make it to the playoffs because I have Patrick Mahomes, who's already God. What year is he in now? Is this year
Well,
6 for him?
he's a 2017 pick. Yeah, so he
Yeah,
was
year 6.
he was like he sat his entire first year except for the last game.
Yeah,
So
oh, that's true. So it's his 5th year
2017,
as a starter.
21, 22, 23. I think it's his seventh year actually, but
Oh,
6th year as a starter.
okay. My God. Oh yeah, because I'm not counting the fucking. I'm not counting 2018. I'm being stupid.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been
But he
about
already
6
has
years.
that head start on you. He has 2 Super Bowls in his pocket already,
Yep,
and he's kicking the crap out of the already established awesome AFC quarterbacks. What the
yep,
fuck are you gonna do if you're a new guy?
yeah,
All these
yeah.
guys are already
Well,
established.
I mean, this is not a hot take. I think it's just going to be Burrow and Mahomes every year for like a
Pretty
long
much.
time.
Lamar's really good too, but who knows with that contract and
Hmm.
the Ravens can never assemble receivers for whatever reason. And they always end up
Yeah,
getting hurt because their training staff's horrible, so their entire team is decimated by injuries by about week 8.
yeah,
So if they can actually deal with the injuries, they'll be a problem as well.
yeah. I think the AFC
Kenny
is just
Pickett? No, not
The AFC is that picture of the dragons that are like look serious, and then NFC is the one that's like super silly.
yeah, all the goofy fucking dragons.
Yeah, or like that like the dog picture where like the dog's super buff, and then you have like the tiny like the tiny dog, you know.
Yeah.
I
Thank
think the
God we're in the
Jets
NFC.
the Jets will be
Totally.
the Jets will be competent and competitive, obviously, and I think Rodgers will be really good. But
Yeah.
it's such a bloodbath in the AFC that it's a long shot unless like everything goes wrong for the Bills, in that division, like or and other teams.
They
I just
could
think it's gonna
possibly
be
melt down, honestly.
they could
That
melt.
is an
Yeah,
underrated pop because the Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen dramas, like they're trying to shove that under the radar, but
yeah,
there's some smoke there.
yeah.
If a
It's
couple things go badly, that could be a real nightmare.
Stephon Diggs. I mean, it's that wide receiver tweet. It's just he did the same thing in Minnesota. So, and Josh Allen is better than Kirk Cousins, and he's doing it again.
Way better. Not even
So,
close.
it's just Stephon Diggs. I think just is one of those like personalities that
He's a
constantly
diva.
just
He's the classic
he's a
wide
diva.
receiver diva.
He's a diva, and he constantly needs to be changing,
Well, it's the
location.
lack of it's not being able to take accountability.
Yeah,
Not being able to acknowledge that you are also responsible for the shortcomings of your team.
yeah, yeah.
And oh,
Where were
bitching
you
at
against
Josh Allen
the
because he's
Bengals?
playing hurt. His
Yep,
arm was fucked up for the entire second half of that season, and you're gonna
yep,
bitch at him?
yeah.
He is playing through injury. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. He was like an MVP candidate, and then he got his elbow hurt, and he was still really good, but you could definitely tell that like this was
Yeah,
not
his
Josh Allen.
accuracy was off at times. Have a little patience. He's playing through a fucking injury to his throwing arm. Like,
He
whatever.
It's a lot, but like Stephon Diggs would not play through that.
No, no. I
So
thank God we have DJ Moore, who's
yeah,
just a
seems like a good
weirdo who
guy.
doesn't seem like he's just cool. He likes
Yeah,
Star Trek. All he does is watch movies and eat
yeah,
popcorn.
yeah. He's just a normal guy,
He's
right?
just
Like
a
that's kind of
regular dude.
like that's why he's weird.
Yeah, that's why he's weird because he's not
Yeah,
like a normal receiver. Because he's a normal guy, he's weird.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
funniest fucking thing.
It's that oh my god, who is the Kings point guard that's like that? Um, I can't remember his name. He was really De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is
Mm,
like known as like a shut-in. Like he just likes to go home
yeah,
after he practices and then he goes home and he just plays video games. It's like man, and
yeah.
like people will hold that against him. It's like man, like
he's not blowing all his money on
that's
horse.
yeah, or like
Okay,
going to the
he's stupid because he's not literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on strippers.
yes, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, he's not doing the
Have you seen those videos? The floor of strip clubs are completely covered in money.
yeah,
Hey, buddy, you're gonna want that when you're 37. You're gonna
yeah,
want that money back.
yeah, yeah. Like, and I'm like, and also too, like, I feel like as an athlete, like, just not going out is like an objectively good thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I going out's fun, and like if you want to do that, that's fine. But like if you're a celebrity of any sort, it's going to be used against you. And
yeah.
also
Literally,
to like
these dudes are fucking escorts, and
yes,
these escorts have videos of them sleeping in their bed, and they extort them.
yep,
What are you doing?
yeah. So just staying home and watching movies or playing video games is fine. Like just that's what I do. I like to do. Like that's what
Yeah,
normal people like to do. It's just that these guys have such a spotlight on them that obviously it's a harder. It gets used against no matter what they do. It gets used against them. But if you're just doing something, like if you're just chilling out, like, and also too playing video games or relaxing or whatever, that stuff's good for your mental health too.
yeah.
You know,
It's yeah,
that's been a big
it's a nice way
spotlight
to
thing.
decompress. I
Yeah.
mean, now all players see if they can smoke weed as well. That they're
Oh
not
yeah.
really tested as much. So you just
Yeah.
smoke a joint, play some video games with your friends, and
Yeah.
like
Well, especially in the
be a
NBA, they
normal
don't.
person.
Yeah. Get away from the
Try
fame for
and
a little
find a
while.
woman who's not going to steal all your money and who'll actually love
Yeah.
you. Like maybe that would be a fucking valuable use of
Yeah.
your time.
Yeah, it's just that's so it's so weird when that stuff gets used against them. But I think that's enough Jets talk for right now. I think you and I are both like mid on them,
Yeah.
to say the least. The last thing that I want to talk about, unless you have something else, is just that the Commanders were finally sold.
Yes. Dan Snyder, the demon is dead. He's
Good,
finally gone.
good fucking riddance. See
I
you
know.
later.
Thank
See you
God
next.
for Commanders fans. I feel really good for them. I'm happy. They've suffered for a very long time. Who knows how this
Yeah,
other
I'm sure
ownership group will
PFT.
go, but yeah, oh, he's on cloud nine. They're gonna change the name again for like the third time in fucking 4 years, probably,
Yeah,
which
I'm
is
not against
insane.
it though.
The Commanders suck. It's a terrible
Yeah,
name. They've got to
yeah.
get something better.
Commies,
Yeah,
commies.
fuck. Yeah, you cannot be the
Yeah,
commies.
no.
Go back to the football team. I thought the football team was a great name. I liked it. I love their uniforms. I thought they looked
Yeah,
really cool with
way
just the
better than
numbers
this
on the
one.
helmet, no
Yeah.
logo. It
Yep.
looked so cool.
Yeah,
I
why
like
is
that
it
a lot.
why don't we have one team that's just the football team? Like I
Yeah,
don't,
they should
that's
be.
fine.
They were like
Yeah.
a total mercenary squad. It was awesome.
Yeah. I think
I loved it.
they made the playoffs with Heineke.
Yeah, Heineke's a
Uh,
fun guy to root for. He's
Oh
not
yeah.
that
Well,
great,
I-
but you just want
uh,
to root for him.
he's like a big QAnon guy.
Yeah, but that makes him fun. He's a loose cannon. I don't need to agree with his political beliefs. The guy can be a
Yeah.
lunatic. He's entertaining.
Oh man, yeah. He was fun to watch. I'll say that.
Yeah, he played
He
with
was
some
scrappy.
juice.
He was scrappy. Yeah. He had
Very
the
small quarterback. He was only
he,
probably like 5'10"
yeah, he was short. He was a short guy.
and like maybe 185. Like he was not a big guy.
No.
But yeah, he had some wheels. He could run around and make some plays. It was fun.
Mhm.
He had that ridiculous Joker tattoo on his arm, which always made me laugh every time I saw it. It's just ridiculous.
Oh my god, he plays for the Falcons, dude.
Yeah,
That's
he's their
awesome.
backup.
That would be
Carson
fun.
Smith just wants to run the ball 45 times a game. That's all he
Yeah.
wants to do. He refuses to draft a quarterback. Well, yes, we're gonna have Desmond Ritter. We're gonna run the ball 45 times a
Yeah.
game.
We're not gonna do shit.
Fuck it.
I don't want to come up with a game plan that doesn't,
Yeah.
include running. Yeah, I'm very happy that Dan Snyder is finally gone because, dude, if you look at the history of the Washington football team, whatever,
Yeah.
like they were one of the proudest
We're a
franchises in the
storied
league.
franchise. Yeah.
Yeah, and
3 Super
now
Bowl championships.
they're fucking
3.
irrelevant. They're fucking irrelevant now because of Dan Snyder and everything that he did.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Gibbs is one of the greatest head coaches of all time. He
Oh yeah,
won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different fucking quarterbacks. That is insane.
dude. What was their punter? He's like the only something Ray Guy.
Russ
Is that his name?
Way. Well,
Oh,
Ray Guy was on the fucking Raiders, I believe.
Raiders. Okay, was it George
Ray Guy
Blanda that
Ray
was their
Guy was
quarterback?
a first round draft pick. The Raiders have drafted fucking a kicker and a punter in the first round. Janikowski and Ray Guy were both first round picks, which is insane.
I don't know why. Okay, George Blanda did not. I don't know why I thought. Oh, George Blanda was in the Bears. Oh,
George Blanda was a quarterback as well.
Oh, that's our
Yeah,
okay. I don't know why I thought he was
he
on.
was a quarterback forever, and then I think he started playing punter when he got fucking old.
Yes, he did, dude. He was. I was just reading that in the. I'm still reading the Patriots. It's better to be feared, like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
And like Brady used to talk about Blanda, and he said that like he didn't want he wanted to play as a quarterback, basically, want to do the Blanda thing of becoming a kicker. But he
yeah.
always joked
He
that
could have.
he could do
Brady
that.
would put, yeah. He would
Yeah,
do that occasionally. He'd punt on third down occasionally just to
yeah,
fuck with other teams.
yeah,
That's
dude.
funny.
The, some of the Brady Patriots years were pretty funny. What they would do
Oh
just
my
because they were
god.
so
They
much
were
ahead of.
such trolls. They were
Yeah,
evil. I loved
dude.
them.
Bill Belichick taking I think this was after Brady left, but or maybe it was his last year. But Belichick taking all of the penalties that the Jets kept declining, to move the
Yeah.
ball back for the punt. It's so because he just loves fucking with the Jets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
So
I
funny.
I would be remiss to not bring up one of the reasons that I'm glad Dan Snyder is gone is just because anybody who comes up with the idea for Six Flags roller coaster cuts should not get to own an NFL football team.
Yeah.
I
I
showed
mean,
you,
basically every business practice he's done has been horrible.
yeah, I showed you the roller coaster cuts, right?
Yeah, he bought Six Flags and ran them into the ground.
Yeah, he bought Six Flags, ran them in the ground, which they're being run into again. I just went yesterday because
Really? I've
I'm in
never been.
Chicago. It's horseshit. I love it because it brings me a lot of like childhood nostalgia, and
Nostalgia.
I love going on rides. But the operations of the park are just shit. But the roller coaster cuts, for those who don't know, roller coaster cuts was like this like retail space that they would have in malls around, I believe, DC, so around the Commanders, where you would go. Like the whole idea was like kids would go in and get a roller coaster cut, and they would just the whole thing that separated them from other like barber shops or salons was just that they would put the kid in the chair and then they would watch roller coaster videos. That was the whole idea.
What an idea.
Yeah, and
Genius, Dan Snyder.
that man was allowed to run the Commanders into the fucking ground.
Yeah. Maybe he'll finally stop the Commanders in general. Will finally stop ruining Sean Taylor's good name with those
Oh,
hideous
dude.
fucking displays.
Oh my God.
Oh my god. Just
That's
so fucking offensive what they were
I,
doing.
it's hard to say that stuff was the worst because of all of the sexual
The sexually
harassment.
assaulting the
Yeah,
cheerleaders,
but
using them as literal prostitutes.
of the
Yeah, that's
things
good.
of the things that Dan Snyder did to try and look good, using Sean Taylor, like he used him like 3 or 4 different times the
Yes,
last couple years,
it was
is
disgusting. That
so
last
gross.
one where they said they were going to build a statue, and then all they did was put up mismatched equipment that in no way, like,
Yes,
actually.
yes,
They didn't even have the fucking tape on the face mask.
yeah,
They had the wrong jerseys. They weren't Reeboks. It was
yeah.
just a fucking disaster.
I think like the pants were Reebok and the jersey was Nike, and then I think he had like
Yeah.
Adidas. It was so disgusting. They sold the Sean Taylor plushie, right?
Oh my god. It
They
didn't even look
had
like him.
no,
Looked
did
nothing
not look
like him.
like him. They retired his number, but in like the most
Yeah, when they
milk,
had
and then of
Jackson
course
Mahomes stepping on his
stand
fucking
on it.
number, filming a goddamn
Fucking guy in
TikTok.
there. Who let that fucking guy in there?
Oh my god.
Why is there no security around the fucking number? What the fuck are you doing,
Sean Taylor's fucking family was there. His
dude?
entire family was there.
That shit was
Oh
so
my god.
fucking gross. Because
It
that
was
was
just disgusting.
I think that was 21, so that was the first season I think after COVID that like fans were allowed to come back, and that's why Jackson Mahomes. That's why they had the retirement ceremony because they were trying to sell tickets, and like I think the Commanders went from being like just like the Bears are still the hottest ticket, but they were the hottest ticket like the Bears, and then now nobody goes to their games because they're just fucking hated on.
Oh yeah. Dude, in the 80s, it was insane. They literally were able to catch like wanted criminals by tricking them into thinking they'd won Washington Redskins tickets. That's a real thing. You can like watch it on YouTube. It's insane. There was
That's
a massive
awesome.
sting in DC where they caught a bunch of I don't know what kind of criminals they were, but they
Yeah.
caught these criminals by sending them mail that they'd won free Washington Redskins tickets and they had to come to this place to claim them. And when they
Oh my
came there,
God.
they got arrested.
That's awesome.
That's how fucking in demand those tickets were. Now they're removing seats from the stadium.
Yeah.
That said, now that Dan Snyder's gone, there's going to be a lot more energy around that team. People are going to come back. It's
Well,
going to be
dude,
good for Washington. They need it.
you
They've
know
been
who
down
one
for so long.
you know who one of the owners is?
Who? Magic Johnson, right?
Yeah. Magic
Yeah, that's
Johnson.
awesome. That's so
Dude,
good.
it's so fun. He's so fun. His tweets are just, like so funny. Well, he'd be like, his tweets are like Pert Hapley from Parks and Rec, where he's like,
Yeah,
one team won the game, like just the most obvious shit, you know. But he is a funny guy. He's
he's
like
a very
he's own
likable guy. He has so much
likable.
charisma.
He's a good like he's a good like mascot to have for like
Yeah, he'd be
your
a nice face for your ownership
you
group.
face. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. He
Yeah.
owns the Dodgers, and the Dodgers have been perennially one of the best for the 10 or 11 years that they've owned the Dodgers. They've been one of the best franchises in the MLB. I don't think they've ever missed the playoffs, maybe except for 1 year. They've been in like World Series contention every year since. So I think, and I think the other owner is the guy who owns the 76ers, who have also been pretty good during his tenure.
Mm,
So I'm very high on this ownership group. Not I don't owners all suck, but
yeah.
you still want your teams to be good, I guess, right? I'm
Yeah. You
no
don't
way
want
am
Jim
I
Irsay to be your owner.
no. You don't want Dan Snyder
Yeah.
I think from just a like NFL football like objective fan sort of analysis, I think this Commanders group is going to be good.
I agree. I think they should. I mean, they can't be worse than Dan Snyder.
No, you cannot be
Like
worse
you
than him.
can't be worse than that. He was intentionally awful. He was a
Hmm.
spiteful man who sabotaged his own team.
Yep. He was fled on his boat to escape any sort of convictions or
Yeah.
prosecution. So
Refused to go before Congress. He's just
I
a
don't
slimy dirtbag.
he's just a fucking coward, really.
Yeah, weaselly
So
fuck. The definition.
yeah, so I think that's enough on the Commanders being sold talk. Yeah, so I think that's it. That's enough. That's enough NFL major storyline talk, Bears talk. I'm super. I mean, we just league it for an hour, but I'm still just so excited that football is finally back, even if it's just shitty
I know.
preseason.
We're getting close. College football's very soon, and once
Oh
college
yeah,
football starts, it's on.
yeah. That's always the fun part too. Is that like college football starts the week earlier,
Yeah, so
so
when there's no games, you've got all the college stuff to watch. It's very
yeah,
nice.
and that's always fun too because it's usually. I mean, that's Labor Day
They have
weekend,
some
so
good games week one usually.
yeah,
I
they
mean,
have
they'll
some
have
good
some
games.
shitholes as well. They'll have some, Michigan will play some garbage team,
Oh
so
yeah.
they can pad their record. That happens a lot, but there are always some fun games week one as well.
Yeah. I remember last year, at least I don't know if it was Wisconsin's first game, but the Illinois State Redbirds' first game last year, we went up to Wisconsin, and
Oh yeah.
Wisconsin, I didn't go. I had friends who went and called the game for the radio station I was working at, and I knew people who were just going up there to just enjoy Wisconsin because Madison's
Yeah.
great. You and I
Madison's
went to
beautiful. Beautiful city.
you and I went to go see Sam Morrill there 2 years ago. It was awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
But they went
That's
up
what
and
that is literally that comedy club is considered by comedians to be one of the best comedy clubs in the country, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
the
very good.
what was it on? Was it on
Comedy on state.
Comedy on State? Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
This sounds so bad, but they gave me like 10 free tickets one time, and I couldn't go to go see somebody, but I wanted to go so bad. They were
Yeah.
just like, "Hey, we
It's a
saw
great
you."
club.
Yeah, it's awesome. But anyways, so I people went up to the Redbirds went up to Madison. They paid the Redbirds like
Yeah.
$500,000 so they could just get an easy win.
Oh yeah. Well, fucking who was it that someone paid Marshall last year? I think it was Notre Dame. Notre Dame paid Marshall hundreds of thousands of dollars to beat them.
Yep.
Marshall came up and beat the crap out of
Yep.
Notre Dame,
Yep.
and were paid
Was
to
it?
do so.
Yeah, that stuff's so fun. I love when that stuff backfires. Like there was no way
So funny.
the Redbirds were going to beat the Badgers, but like
No, they stink.
if they did, that would have been amazing.
The fucking Redbirds couldn't beat Trey Lance. Let's be
No,
real here.
no, I know. There was no chance. I think they ended up losing like 49-7 or something ridiculous. But
Yeah.
there was that part of me that
You're just
as
like, I
a,
gotta go. Yeah.
well, there's a chance. The
There's a
Redbirds
chance, baby.
roll
Go
birds,
Redbirds. Go Birds.
roll birds.
Roll Birds.
So that it was still like a very fun week or so,
Yeah.
or whatever, preparation or just excitement, I guess, for that game. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm so ready for football to be back. The MLB season is winding down, and my White Sox
Yeah.
don't fucking matter. So and like at this
Sorry.
point, it's
My
okay.
condolences.
They fuck. It's okay. Fuck Reinsdorf,
Yeah, he's awful. He's one of the worst owners.
dude. I just got
Ugh.
that clip recommended to me on TikTok from The Last Dance, and I was watching it where Michael Jordan watches like Reinsdorf talking about how like there's no chance because they could have gone for
Yeah,
a seventh ring because of the money. It's like this
yeah.
fucking guy does
Shut.
not.
He's
That's
such a
so.
piece of shit.
He's such a piece of shit. I'm so glad that he owns two of our teams in the
Yeah.
city. But yeah. The White Sox don't matter. So like I really don't care about MLB again until the
Justin
playoffs.
Fields is carrying our city. It is what it is.
Yeah, Justin
Everyone
Fields
else, I mean,
is like all that
he is
matters.
the only thing that
Yeah,
matters.
the Cubs are like kind of like
They're
in
trying to
playoff.
be competitive, right? Like
They're
they got some guys. I think they
yeah
acquired someone at the deadline. They're trying to make a push.
yeah
Probably they're
they're
gonna
making
fail.
it
It
just
is what it is.
it's funny because they've been like really hot, but they also have like made like almost no ground in their division. I think they
Yeah,
might have a wild card, but they've almost made no
because
ground in their
everyone else keeps
division.
winning as well. So
Oh
if
yeah.
they just keep winning, then you can't
Well,
close the gap.
they got really hot, but also like so did like the Brewers and the Reds.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in second place. They're 2.5 games back. The Cubs are of Milwaukee, and then I think they might have the third wild card in the
Mhm.
NL. Yeah, so they have the third wild card. So they're technically in playoff
And
contention,
yeah, they're there. Worst
but
case scenario, they're in the hunt.
they're in the
That
hunt.
awesome graphic. Did they
But
change that stupid graphic last year? I
which
think they
one?
changed it from in the hunt to something.
Oh, the playoff, like the NFL
Yeah,
playoff
they
thing.
changed it to something else. I thought maybe it was just for
On
like a
Bu-
game or two, but I thought they changed it. It's weird.
Sometimes they use bubble.
Yeah, maybe it was that.
There was one year, I think it
I
was
thought it was
like
kind of funny, but I don't
I
know.
I think it was Jamie's Winston's first year. I think
Uh,
because Lovie Smith was the head coach, and uh,
yeah.
they were like
Okay.
in the hunt at like 5-5, and then I think they lost like every game the rest of the year,
Yeah.
which was like so funny because they were like it was like December maybe or like November, and they were like
Yeah. That
people
would
were
have
like,
been.
could the Buccaneers sneak in? And then they just were fucking terrible for like 4 years.
Yeah, they were. The Buccaneers were unbelievably shit for
Jamie's
a
Winston had
long time.
the
They're going
first.
back to it this year. The Bucks are
Oh
going to
yeah,
be
they're gonna be bad.
fucking awful.
They're gonna
Oh
suck.
my god,
They're gonna suck for Caleb
excruciating.
Williams or whatever.
Yeah, I hope they get him so that I can actually have someone to
Yeah,
watch and not want to kill myself when I have to watch a
yeah,
Buccaneers game.
yeah. Well, I think I like the Buck. Like that's a franchise that like I like, even though
I have
like
you know, just
I
because
have
I
no
live here, I
affinity.
have like a sweet spot for them. But
Yeah,
like they're not my team, obviously. But I want them to not suck when I
yeah.
have to watch them.
They've always historically outside of the Super Bowl against the Raiders and then the Brady years, obviously they've always been pretty irrelevant. And I'm
Yes.
always more fond of those teams than the teams like the Steelers or the Packers. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously the Packers or the Patriots or like the any
The
team that's
Raiders
just like
even.
always good.
Like the Raiders suck, but like they have that
Yeah,
real brand
yeah,
still.
yeah. They still have that brand, but like the Buccaneers don't. So it's like I'm always more inclined to root for teams like that. And I'm also like again, I'm a White Sox fan, so any team that is like irrelevant as shit, I'm always more inclined to like them.
Yeah, it's our nature.
Yeah,
We like the losers.
especially in Florida where like the Buccaneers aren't even I'm always a big fan of like second teams of any city and like Florida doesn't have like a team like a city that has two teams in any league I think but
No,
they still have
we
like
have tons of teams though.
if you
They're
go
just
across
scattered across the state.
yeah if you just do like state rankings I don't even think the Buccaneers really are a second team I think they might even be like a third team because I think
Not even close. I see Dolphin stuff here a lot.
yeah the
Lots of
Dolphins
Dolphins
are
fans.
definitely huge like
I have
there's real
seen,
Dolphins fans
dude, I have seen nothing for the Jaguars.
yeah
Nothing.
so
Nothing.
Maybe the Bucks are the
It's like
second
you'd
team
think
but
no,
they're
you'd
far
think
second.
someone because like I don't live in Jacksonville, but you'd think I'd at least occasionally see a Trevor Lawrence jersey.
Yeah.
Never. I see more Fields jerseys down here than Trevor Lawrence.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, we're getting close to the end here, but I was watching this clip yesterday of DeSantis in Iowa. He was like having like a conversation with the governor of Iowa. I believe her name is Kim Reynolds. She's another fucking fascist.
Yeah.
But uh, he made some remark where he was like, "Yeah, I always went to Fort Myers in January, and half the Midwest is in Florida." You know, so it's like I was just thinking about that when you said you see Fields jerseys.
Yeah, it's sad. Poor Jags fans. Fuck
Really,
you.
they could move to England. I don't think anybody would really care.
They're irrelevant. They
Yeah,
don't matter. Even with
yeah,
Trevor Lawrence, no one gives a fuck.
yeah. They just will never have a fan base that's like that. There are fans of them, obviously, but they'll just never have like a
Yeah.
devoted like
I swear to God, I have seen
crazy.
one license plate frame for the Jaguars. That is it. That is the extent of Jaguars fandom I've seen. I've seen a guy with a license plate
Yeah.
frame.
Well, that dude probably just got out of prison and just tried to get the cheapest
Yeah,
license plate he could get.
pretty much.
You
Oh
know,
God,
he got out of Jacksonville prison or something. You know.
Jags. The
So.
only cool thing about them is that they have pools at their stadium.
Oh yeah, because it's so
Yeah, you
fucking
could
hot.
literally sit in a fucking pool while watching the game. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I like stadiums that feature like the D-backs stadium in Arizona has that too. I
Yeah,
think
that's
The Marlins had that maybe. I can't remember. But it's usually more baseball stadiums that have the weird amenities like that.
yeah. Well, baseball stadiums are less about the game than
The
any other
experience.
stadium. They're way more
Yeah.
about the experience.
And the stadium is just more like it's more pliable for like a weird architecture kind of thing that football stadiums are. Although the Bucks do have that cool feature with the ship.
Yeah, the cannons are fucking badass. And
That's
I
like the
like
only
the Viking Stadium is really cool with the big skull, like the
yeah.
horn and shit.
Yeah.
I really like their stadium. I think it's cool.
I kind of like SoFi too, at least from like the TV like view. I like
Yeah,
the
it looks
outside of it.
pretty neat. It's
Although
massive.
the shit where like they can't play during
Lightning because it's not a
yeah.
dome.
Yeah, it's always like really weird.
So dumb.
So, I don't know. But all right, I think we're at the end here of this episode of whatever we're gonna call it. We'll see. I'll come up with a name and we'll talk about it off air.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for whoever is out there listening.
Yeah. If there's anyone that listens to this at
Yeah,
all,
I
thanks or
do.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Whatever you. If they
Yeah,
even made it to this point, I mean, we're
yeah,
what, an hour and a half in? Good God, no one's
yeah.
listening to this.
We're deep into this shit. But again, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back on. Hopefully next Monday as well. I'll have to take a look at my work schedule and we'll figure that out. But for the time being, you can follow me on Twitter at Droopy. You can email our email, potstersofthemidway@gmail.com. I think even if we change the name, I'm gonna keep that fucking email. I think
Keep it
that's
the
so
email.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
keep
we're
it.
gonna keep it no matter what. And just make people like email like this nonsensical email that doesn't match up with our podcast name.
Yeah.
You can find Jake nowhere, probably most likely in the bottom of like some trash heap after he offed himself. I'm just kidding. Just- you can also follow our Twitter at Potsters85. For right now, this is
So relevant.
all gonna
Love
fucking
it.
change because some fucking asshole had the same idea as us and interviewed the team doctor of the Bears. So I feel bad. I've our fucking podcast name after coming up with such a good one. But all right, that's it. You got anything to say?
No, bye. No one that's listening.